Hi, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us. Today it is another Magic Talk with Toad. Say hello, Toad.
I'm Spider-Man.
I'm Spider-Man too. We're all Spider-Man. Today we have something special planned. Uh, we have our Spider-Man set review, and we're doing something a little bit different. It's Spider-Man, now in Magic the Gathering. This is
It
our
sure is.
general set review for the set. We decided to do something fun with it. It's a PowerPoint, and we will go over it and talk about some of our favorite cards.
Yep.
Spider-Man Value Vintage.
So
It's a rough set to say the least. The bonus sheet is
let's just get
it's kind of
let's
unreadable.
just get this out of the way up front.
Yeah, we're
I'm
not
not
sure.
happy with this set. I don't think Wizards did a good job with this set. I'm not even mad that it's a Spider-Man set. I think they could have done that a lot better than this, and they just didn't. So besides that, there are some fun cards in this set, and we're going to go over them. This set is just kind of a downer for the end of the year.
Yeah, Spider-Man's an interesting IP at least, and the whole set makes us sad. We don't like it very much. But there are Value Vintage cards to go through. There are more Value Vintage cards to talk about. Thank you, Spider-Man.
Also, some popper cards, maybe.
Oh yeah, there are popper cards. We're starting off with now for the magical cards. Magical cards. Anyway, magical cards. The white cards. Going in Wooburg order, we have Aunt May. Aunt May is a 1-drop legendary creature human citizen with whenever another creature control enters, you gain 1 life. If it's a spider, put a 1/1 counter on it. It's a budget Soul Sister, which is pretty good. We like Soul Sisters.
Yeah, so if people were not aware, Soul Warden is over $2 and Soul's Attendant is over $4 now.
How much is Aunt May?
Aunt May is 26 cents.
She is legendary, which means you can't have more than 1. But
that's absolutely something to keep in mind. However, I think for 10% of the cost of a Soul Sister, this is something to just keep in mind. If your deck wants maybe you want 1 Soul Sister to tutor for with a Ranger of Eos or something.
yeah.
This is going to fill that role extremely efficiently.
And there are some playable spiders. Not in this set, really, but there's a few in this set.
There's a couple that are playable in Value Vintage in this set, but mostly what I'm thinking of is changelings. There are some playable changelings like Masked Vandal, which might occasionally pick up a +1/+1 counter. And there's also some spiders that I have played in Pauper, like Penumbra Spider, which I don't think make the jump to Value Vintage, but maybe if you have a really weird deck you're trying to do something with, it could happen.
Yeah. Next up we have Arachne, Psionic Weaver. She is a legendary creature, spider human hero for 2 and a white. She has web slinging 1 white. You may cast a spell for a white if you also return a tapped creature you control to its owner's hand. As Arachne enters, look at an opponent's hand, then choose a card type other than creature. Spells of the chosen type cost 1 more to cast.
This is just another one of those stacks creatures that you can play in your white decks. The interesting thing about this one is she has the web slinging, which lets you pick up a creature. What are some creatures you might want to pick up in Value Vintage? Thraben Inspector, White Plume Adventurer, other stacks creatures. Like, being able to pick up a White Plume Adventurer is pretty spicy. And she's sitting at 85 cents right now, so very easy to fit a copy or 2 into a deck. She's got a broad stacks effect, so unlike some of the other ones where you play your 3-mana card and then you choose a card or name a card and it just taxes that one card or card name, This is going to do a smaller tax on all instants or all artifacts. So if your opponent is on like High Tide or Affinity, you can really kind of slow them down a little bit with this,
Yeah.
where something like Anointed Peacekeeper might make it hard for them to cast Cranial Plating or Thought Monitor, but it's not going to do anything to the rest of their deck.
Honestly, to me, it's kind of comparable to Talia, or Thalia, whatever. She doesn't have first strike, but she has 3/3, and like you're never going to be casting her for her full cost. You're going to be casting her for her web slinging. So like you play a creature turn
Even
one.
even for the full cost, I think this is a reasonable card.
You think
And if
so?
you ever get to web slinging something that you care about, the value is really good.
Yeah, my thinking is like turn one, novice inspector or Thraben inspector or whatever, or the novice inspector but not novice inspector. Then turn two attack. Then web sling. Then play your then play the Thraben inspector again.
Yep.
That is insane value. That is great. We love that.
It's also not limited to a white creature. So web slinging like ninjutsu is just whatever creature you have that's tapped you control. So you can pick up a Voldaren Epicure if that's what your deck is doing. You can pick up a Ravenous Rats if you want to try and get that working in this format.
But yeah. So those are the white cards. Next up, oh god, it's bugging out. Next up we have the blue cards. The first blue card we have. Oh, you go.
Yeah. Blue is a little bit tricky because I did not find any cards that I liked that were like really affordable. So both of these blue cards that we've picked out are around $3 right now, which is a significant investment, but not impossible if your deck is built around it or if you're only playing one. So Hide on the Ceiling, I think if you want it at all, it's a one of. And Lady Octopus is going to be the centerpiece of a deck. So
we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit.
Both of these a little bit, yeah.
We're getting ahead of ourselves. Hide on the Ceiling is X in the blue for an instant. It's blue. Exile X target artifacts and or creatures. Return the exile cards to the battlefield under their owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. So it's a flicker card.
It is a mass flicker. It can hit your opponent's stuff. It's interesting because it also hits artifacts, which you don't usually get with these. But again, this is $3. You're not going to run a bunch of these. And it's also kind of clunky on the mana. Like, yeah, blinking 3 things is probably really good if your deck's built to do that, but you're also paying 4 mana. So this is competing with stuff like Ghostly Flicker.
Yeah.
Which, let me look up what the Ghostly Flickers cost right now.
The other thing is with the Spider-Man price cost is like, we're filming this the week after pre-release.
Yeah, it is the Monday after pre-release.
It's the Monday after pre-release. So like the prices are really wacky right now. They have absolutely tanked when we were looking at them Thursday and Friday. But like even then, there's going to be a lot of product open for this because of the collectors and such. Either that or no one's going to open it because the set's kind of stinky. But like I'm going to MagicCon Atlanta at the end of this week, and like every premium pass holder, or like the premium ticket holder, or whatever, gets like a pack or two of Spider-Man, like a premium pack or two of Spider-Man. So that alone is just getting a whole lot of product out there, just to be sold and given away or like whatever.
Yep. And I did look up Ghostly Flicker. They're at about 90 cents right now.
Oh, nice.
I think that is the number one competition for this card because it can also blink some non-creature permanents and it's instant and you get 2 for the same cost as 2 for this. At $3, I don't like this card. It's on the list because I think if it drops down to like 50 cents, I'm suddenly pretty interested in it. Because of the interaction with Cryogen Relic.
Yeah. But, like we were saying, it might be worth trying if the price drops. Next up we have is Lady Octopus, Inspired Inventor. She is a legendary creature, human scientist villain for a single blue, which is pretty good. And she says, whenever you draw your first or second card each turn, put an Ingenuity counter on Lady Octopus. Then you may tap, like, not then. Then she has a line that says, tap her, You may cast an artifact spell from your hand with mana value less than or equal to the number of ingenuity counters on Lady Octopus without paying its mana cost. She's also a 0/2.
Yep.
With a few cantrips, you could shoot out some crazy big stuff.
So if you play Lady Octopus and then pass the turn and on your opponent's turn cast Brainstorm, she's going to immediately go to 2. You're going to go to your turn, she's going to go to 3. You're already casting fairly reasonable artifacts for free. If you have an opt or a consider, then you're hitting 2 drops. 2 drops is Cryogen Relic, Ichor Wellspring, Mana Rocks, a lot of the playable equipment. And it really doesn't get cheaper than 1 mana for an effect that can cheat stuff out. So if you're a fan of like As Foretold and other formats, this is doing kind of the same thing just for artifacts.
Also, it's kind of easy to get past counter magic a little bit because like no one's really going to be counting Lady Octopus.
Well, it's more that she's a 1 mana spell. So like your opponent, you play this on turn 1, they can't spell pierce it, they can't lose focus it unless they have like Elvish Spirit Guide or something. On the play, she's going to get in underneath Inquisition of Kozilek. She doesn't care about duress. So whenever you can play your engine card on turn 1 on the play, it gives you a lot of value in just dodging the common disruption in the format. And she's not super survivable. Like, she has no protection or anything, and she just has 2 toughness. So you probably do want to have ways to protect her, but your opponent is going to usually have to have an actual removal spell to deal with this. Yeah. Discard is not going to be great. Counter magic is not going to be great.
And like, I'll meme on this card later, but like, this seems like something that would work well with Paradox Engine if Paradox Engine drops in price, which it probably won't. But you know, if it does, it's a cool Paradox Engine card. You could do a few loops with it.
Yeah. I think the sweet spot for this card is trying to cast 2 or 3 mana artifacts with it.
Yeah.
Anything bigger than that, and you're looking at multiple turn cycles, which you generally want to avoid for like value engines like this. If you can get it all up front, that's what you're hoping for.
Yeah, so now we're on to the black cards. And this is where the presentation gets a little bit wacky. Just to make things streamlined, I've included multicolor cards with their color things. So, like, you'll see what I mean. So for the black cards, first off we have Parker Luck, which is a enchantment for 2 and a black that says at the beginning of your end step, 2 target players each reveal the top card of their library. They each lose life equal to the mana value of the card revealed by the other player. Then they each put the card they revealed into their hand.
So this is basically Keen Duelist. Keen Duelist is about $2 for a 2 mana 2/2. Parker Luck is about 50 cents for a 3 mana enchantment. That's a price point where you could feasibly run 4 of each, plus throw in some Dark Rituals and Inquisition of Kozilek, and then you just run like big cards that are still playable for cheap. So you're looking at stuff like Street Wraith, you're looking at stuff like other cycling things like Troll of Khazad-dûm, maybe even Twisted Abomination. And you could dip out into other colors and run like Greater Gargadon, or even do Calibrated Blast type tricks in red.
You could do or Draco.
With blue. You could do Draco. Draco, I think, is not worth it over some of the like 13 and 14 mana cards that are a bit cheaper. Like Shadow of Mortality is an actual playable card that you could cast at some point.
World Spine Worm's not impossible.
World Spine Worm is kind of doing its own thing, but if you're in blue for Brainstorm, you could run a flash and put your World Spine Worm into play. So that kind of ties the deck together a little bit. So I think there's a lot of options with this. Keen Duelist is a card that I've like kind of been experimenting with. It is just, it's tricky to fit that and Dark Ritual into the same deck and still have any budget for anything else.
Yeah. But you could potentially build a whole archetype deck around Parker Luck, is what we've been trying to say.
With Keen Duelist and Parker Luck, you have 8 of your primary thing that your deck is doing, which is pretty reasonable. And like you're in black, so you get to run the Inquisition, Hymn, Duress type thing to slow the opponent down. And it's kind of rough because you are giving your opponent cards. So you have to be aware of that. Like you're going to be giving your opponent 2 extra cards a turn probably in the mid to late game. So the discard is not going to be super effective long. It's more make sure the opponent can't win on the first 2 or 3 turns and then just start doming them for 6, 8, 13 life a turn.
Could you do like? So I already have the next card pulled up, but we'll get to that in a second. Just thinking off the cuff here, could we do stuff like Deafening Silence and like other stacks effects with Parker Luck and just try to burn them out?
Certainly, yeah.
Cool, we might have to try that because that sounds like a really funny deck. Like turn 1 Deafening Silence, turn 2 whatever, turn 3 Parker Luck, and then just grind them out.
Could run main deck Damping Sphere.
Hell yeah, let's go.
That doesn't even need another color.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll tinker with that eventually. Our next few videos are going to be probably like gameplay videos, but
we're gonna try and fit some Spider-Man cards into a couple decks and just try them out here and there.
I have one I'm thinking of, but we'll get to that later. Next card we have is Symbiote Spider-Man. It is a blue...
I think we missed Eerie Gravestone.
No, we'll do Eerie Gravestone later. It's at the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Symbiote Spider-Man. This is a 2/4 for 2 and a Dimir hybrid. It is a Symbiote Spider Hero Legend. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, look at that many cards from the top of your library. 1 into hand, rest into graveyard. And then if it's in your graveyard, you can pay 2 and a Dimir hybrid to exile it from your graveyard, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control, and it gets the draw ability. So if you like stuff like Shadow Mage Infiltrator or Oran Viper or all the other creatures that have like curiosity type effects on them, this is a really good one.
So it's extremely strong Saboteur effect is what you were calling it earlier.
Yeah, so like the creature combat damage to opponent triggers are Saboteur effects. So when this hits, it doesn't have any evasion, so like that's something to be aware of compared to a lot of them, but you're going to look at the top 2 and 1 goes to hand and 1 goes to graveyard. So you're getting better sleight of hand instead of just drawing a random card.
Yeah.
But where I really like this is if it dies, which your opponent probably wants to kill this, it's got 4 toughness and it draws cards. You can put a counter on something and give it the other ability.
Yeah.
And the thing that you put a counter on can be a lot bigger than the Symbiote Spider-Man.
Also, I have the note where it says it can feed hungry card engines.
Yeah, so if you want to run something like Forbid, which doesn't see a lot of play in Value Vintage, but it sees like play in pre-modern and other formats, and it's only $1, so like we could experiment with it. This is going to be good for that. It's going to be good with like Zombie Infestation and Squee decks if you want to try doing that. It goes in the same kind of decks where Psychic Frog would go if Psychic Frog goes down just a little bit more. And it gives you another version of that effect. And then imagine you can put the symbiote on a Psychic Frog.
Ooh, yummy.
So that's expensive. Like Psychic Frog is over $5 still, and this is $1.50. So for 4 of each, you're looking at like $25, $26. It's just not going to happen. I'm hoping at some point they will reprint Psychic Frog, putting it at like $2 or $3, and then it's go time.
Yeah. Next up, we have the red cards, part 1. First up, we have Heroes Hangout, which is a sorcery for a red. It says choose 1, date night. Exile the top 2 cards of your library. Choose one of them until the end of your next turn. You may play that card. Or Patrol Night. 1 or 2 target creatures each get +1/+0 and gain first strike until end of turn. This is just
so
a red
Yeah, this is a red sleight of hand for combo type decks. Uh, it's honestly pretty reasonable for aggro too. Like tempo type decks like Delver have played sleight of hand type cards in the past, and this gives you one in red. Red doesn't usually get them. And the pump option of this is also pretty reasonable, especially if you have creatures like Dragon's Rage Channeler, which
Darcy,
might
my
have some
beloved.
kind of evasion. Yeah. And so you're getting in with evasion for 1 or 2 extra damage and getting a Dragon Rage Channeler trigger to surveil. So it kind of does a lot of that kind of stuff. And this card is only 30 cents. Like you can easily play 4 of these if you're interested in them.
Yeah. Also, Miles looks really weird on this card. I gotta mention that.
The faces on this card are both kind of weird looking.
Also, Gwen's hair is like very full, or not like 80s full. So like I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know what's going on here. Anyway, the next card is Spider-Man 2099. This is a card I'm interested in because it resembles a card we've gone over in the past one of our set reviews. Uh, I think it could potentially lead to its own archetype, though it's a little bit flimsy. It reminds me of Gao from Final Fantasy. So Gao from Final Fantasy has a thing where if a card leaves your graveyard at the end of your turn, at the end of your turn, if a card left your graveyard, Gao deals damage equal to its power to each critter. To each player, and Gao grows. So Spider-Man 2099. Oh, I forgot to say what it is. Spider-Man 29 is a legendary creature, spider-human hero for a blue and a red. It has From the Future. You can't cast Spider-Man 2099 during your first, second, or third turns of the game. It has double strike and vigilance. At the beginning of your end step, if you've played a land or cast a spell this turn from anywhere other than your hand, Spider-Man 2099 deals damage equal to his power to any target. So Gao just is each player. Spider-Man 2099, or Miguel O'Hara, does it to any target. So if you do an impulse draw or like impulse stuff and you just slowly start getting an impulse engine, which Heroes Hangout does, or other similar cards like do, impulse draw is a lot in red. This can just start shooting stuff down pretty fast.
So I'm going to say this card's best friend, I think, is a card called Reckless Charge, which is a red sorcery for 1 red mana that gives target creature +3/+0 and haste.
Mm-hmm.
And then it also has flashback for 2 and a red.
Wow.
So you cast Spider-Man 2099. It's going to be turn 4, so you should have another mana. You're going to make it a 5/3 double strike vigilance haste. You're going to get in for 10. And then next turn, you can flash it back, get in for another 10. And if they're not dead, you get to do 5 to any target. So that's going to close out the game pretty quickly. You can also run stuff like Faithless Looting and Heroes Hangout to just kind of incidentally give some value along the way.
Yeah.
Remove blockers with like Lava Dart. You can 2-for-1 the opponent.
It's a little bit clunky, I'll admit that. It's a legendary creature, which means you only have one of it, and you can't play it early in the game.
Yeah, this one's a little tricky because blue-red is usually a tempo deck, and this wants to be a tempo card, but tempo cards that you can't play until turn 4 are kind of weird. You really want this guy to come down and just the game is done. He just does his thing and the opponent dies.
Yeah.
So you're kind of going to want to orchestrate that, which may be tricky.
But I felt he was worth mentioning. It's neat.
Yeah.
Next up we have
he also is $1.63.
Oh, that's not
so
bad.
The price is not brutal, but if you want to run 4 of these, and if you're going to build around it, you probably do. It does take up $6-7.
Yeah, that's relevant. Next up we have Red Cards Part 2. Here's where we start getting into cards that are the red cards that have really interested me. And there are probably better ways to be doing these cards, but there's something here. We're maybe not cooking, but we're getting the ingredients together. The first card we have is Hobgoblin, Mantled Marauder. It is a legendary creature, goblin human villain for 1 and a red. Hobgoblin has flying and haste, and whenever you discard a card, Hobgoblin gets plus 2/0 until end of turn. This is just a discard version of Kiln Fiend. Kiln Fiend is plus 3, plus 0, I get it, but like, flying and haste is not irrelevant, and if you're like just pitching cards, it's nuts. And like, this is really good for a Hollow One or an Asmo deck. They might like it.
Yeah, this is a Flying Haste Flameblade Adept. I think because it's legendary, I'm just gonna throw one copy into our Hollow One deck and call it good.
Maybe one or two.
You never want a second one. Like, you can discard it, but I just like one. One goes in, no problem. Perfect card, done.
But like, it's still a hell of an attacker.
Yep, and we're looking at about 30 cents for this one.
So like, that's nothing. That's nothing.
Yeah.
The next card is Shadow the Goblin. This is a little bit slower, but like, I still like it. It is a 1 in a red enchantment that says Unreliable Visions. At the beginning of your first main phase, discard a card. If you do, draw a card. And then Undying Vengeance. Whenever you play a land or cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, this enchantment deals 1 damage to each opponent.
Yeah, I like this card for 2 mana. It is $1.15 right now. So again, it's going to soak up a decent amount of your budget if you want to run a lot of copies of these.
But this also could be good for discard decks. It's a little slow, but like,
I don't like this for Hollow One.
Yeah, Hollow One's too fast.
I do like it more for Asmo decks.
Now, what makes me is, like, it makes me think of building a Madness Burn control list. Like, just, there's something there. I like Madness as an effect. Pauper Madness is my favorite deck, or one of my favorite decks. And, like, if you could just, like, grind out value with, like, Madness stuff at, like, instant speed, or just Madness stuff at all, there's something there.
I like this card with something like Roar of the Worm.
Yeah.
Where you're gonna discard a card and draw a card. The card you discard is Roar of the Worm. That gives you a 4 mana 6/6 that deals 1 damage to your opponent. Is that the best thing ever? No, but Roar of the Worm is like, let me look up the price on Roar of the Worm. It's not a lot, I know. Roar of the Worm is 12 cents. Call of the Herd, 6 cents. So you could be like just incidentally grinding out creatures. The problem with that is red-green doesn't have the best disruption in the format. So you probably want a third color, at which point the mana might be a little tricky, but I think it's workable.
Like Jund Madness. Do Jund Madness. It's great.
Don't do Jund Madness.
No, why
not? I would say you can do you could do a Naya deck, and you get to run Swords to Plowshares, you get to run High Noon in the sideboard if you want to use the budget. You can run like some disruption stuff, Ray of Revelation, Ancient Grudge, both very good with this card if they're meta appropriate.
You could do both Root Wallas.
Yeah, but then you have a Root Walla in play and your opponent is laughing at you.
The Root Wallas are not that bad.
They're very bad.
They're using actual vintage.
The actual vintage has very different meta from what we have.
But the Root Wallas are there.
I don't like the Root Wallas. I like the worms. Arrogant Worm, Roar of the Worm. That's what I'm interested in here. But big creatures where the bodies are going to make your initiative opponent be like, oh, I can't attack into those.
Yeah. But the other note to make about Spider-Man is I hate Mayhem. Mayhem is a bad mechanic. It's stupid, and I hate it. It is...
I don't know how it works, and I'm not going to learn how it works because I don't care about any of the cards that have it, and I really doubt we're ever going to see it again.
Yeah, Mayhem is just... It's fixed madness, but by fixed, I mean, like, neutered and amputated. Like, that's a bit
It
grotesque, I know,
is
but it's bad.
it is madness that I think doesn't work if they have Rest in Peace.
Yeah, I don't think it works for Rest in Peace.
And they can also counter it with Soul Guide Lantern and
Also,
Ravenous Trap.
it's sorcery speed only, except the cards with flash.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I'm not big on it. I don't think any of the cards with it are particularly good. They're not on this list for a reason.
It's bad. So, and then we go to the green cards. Hello, green cards. Our first
Yep.
green card is Sandman, Shifting Scoundrel. This guy's really
So
cool.
I like for cards that are not pop or legal, I think this is my favorite in the set.
Yeah, do you want to read them off or do you want me to?
He's 1 green for a legendary creature, sand elemental villain. His power and toughness are each equal to the number of lands you control. He can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. And for 3 green, you can return this card and target land card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. That is instant speed, so you can do it on your opponent's end step.
Yeah.
This guy is like elemental. First off, is a very relevant creature type.
What, you're saying sand isn't?
Yeah, most of the creatures in this set, either they're humans, which is a relevant creature type, or their creature type does not matter. Elemental is one of the rare exceptions, where you can actually do some stuff with elementals that matter in Magic. So I like that already. This is a pretty reasonable body. In the decks where you would want this card, you're probably looking at somewhere between 4/4 and 7/7 most of the time.
Yeah.
The evasion is real. Like, they can't chump block this with a Mana Dork or a Thraben Inspector or a token from Gleeful Demolition or any of that kind of stuff. And then the recursion ability is really interesting on this guy. Like, you get to bring back your Modern Horizons 3 fetch land for whatever tricolor deck you put this in.
Oh.
If you don't want to do 3-color, then you get to do like the single mana 1-color cycling lands. You can do Ghost Quarter stuff with it. You can do Blast Zone stuff with it.
Could we
don't think that.
Could we do Value Vintage Ponzo with it?
That's really slow.
That's fair.
Like, I think I want this guy in a deck that has either blue or black or both.
Okay.
Because you have to be able to lock down the late game if this is what you're trying to win with.
Okay. Also, it's vulnerable to hate, which is annoying.
It is vulnerable to graveyard hate. However, if the fail case for this card is that mid to late game you have a 5/5 that they can't chump block, that's already okay. Like, it's not great. I wouldn't play just that card, like the Steel Leaf Paladin or whatever it's called that has that. But if you can get some use out of the recursion, like if the opponent counters this, you don't really care.
Yeah.
Steel Leaf Paladin is not the card I'm thinking of. I don't know. It's from Lorwyn and it's like a 3-mana 5/4.
Yeah.
But that card saw standard play and it didn't have the recursion. Also with this set, like, this is one of those sets that makes me think maybe it's time to try a Legend Toolbox again with Time of Need.
Okay.
Because Time of Need is one of the few tutors, the few 1 or 2 mana tutors that we can play. It is unfortunately like 250, so it's hard to overload on them. But if you want to just run like one or two, it's something. But what I really like with Sandman, if you have discard outlets in your deck, this just completely ignores counter magic.
Yeah.
And if you have sack outlets in your deck, this starts to ignore just like everything. Like, it's just going to keep coming until you are dead or your opponent is dead.
So does this fit into your Get Rog land deck?
That is an Oath of Druids deck, so no.
Yeah,
But
okay.
it could fit into an other Gitrog. Like I've been trying to brew around Gitrog a little bit more. The Oath deck is kind of not panning out, so I'm dropping that. But I do still think Gitrog is a really good top end threat in this format.
Okay.
And 5 mana is not unreasonable to just cast it on something like a Nick Fit shell.
Okay. Anyway, for the next
So
card,
yeah,
oh, sorry.
yep. So yeah, if you're trying to do the land recursion thing, you don't have a ton of options. We got Glacierwood Siege. There's a couple other clunky ones like Slowgurk, but this is a really good way to loop a single land. And if you have a sack outlet, then it becomes a real advantage engine.
All right, so next up we have Supportive Parents, which is a 2 and a green for a creature human citizen that's a 3/3, which is not bad. And it says tap 2 untapped creatures you control, add 1 mana of any color. This is just Birchlaw Ranger effect, but with no elf requirement.
Yeah, so Birchlaw Ranger has seen play in like so many formats as part of the elf decks, and this is the exact same ability, but just whatever creatures you have.
Yeah.
So if you want to do like a human type thing, this does that. Citizen is a creature type that we've seen on a bunch of stuff. I don't think that it's particularly relevant, but there are other citizens. But this is just 3 mana, 3/3. So the base body is bad, but not embarrassing.
Yeah.
And then the mana ability is just great. Like it counts itself immediately because this isn't a tap ability, it's a tap 2 untap creatures ability.
Yeah.
So you can just play this and have another creature out and tap both of them and just do another thing. If you have Intruder Alarm, this lets you go off a lot of ways.
How much is Intruder Alarm?
Intruder Alarm, I believe, is like $4. It is. Oh no, Intruder Alarm is $2.15.
Oh, hey.
So there is potentially some Intruder Alarm brewing to do in this format.
I'll have to look into that. Also, 3 mana is rough but not impossible, like we already said.
Yeah, if you have turn 1 Mana Dork, Avacyn's Pilgrim is a human. If you're trying to do human stuff, you can do turn 2 Supportive Parents. On the play, that gets past Lose Focus, it gets past Mana Leak, it gets past Counterspell, and then you have whatever mana you need, probably. Like you can play any creature next turn, and you're looking at like 5+ mana.
You could do Ornithopter with this.
You could do Ornithopter with it. You could do Kobolds with it. Like I don't know if any of the Kobolds are cheap. Rograk you could do with it, although I think Rograk has actually gotten a little bit pricey.
Rograk's like $5-6.
No, Rograk's $1.
Rograk's $1. Oh, I'm damned.
Rograk's $1. So there's some 0 mana stuff that you can do, like Ornithopter and Rograk. There's also token creatures you can do. Like the elf deck uses the 2 mana 2/2 that makes an elf when you cast it.
Oh yeah.
This could work very well with just Mulg War Marshal, goblin fodder, just dragon fodder, anything like that. Like just make 2 or 3 goblins and you're looking at several mana.
Yeah. Next up we have Green Cards Part 2.
Rebirth, Gleeful Demolition. Yeah. So that's 3 creatures. So you have your Supportive Parents plus 3 tokens. That immediately gives you 2 more mana.
Nice. Green Cards Part 2. First up we have Spider Manifestation. Which is a really gnarly looking card. It looks like it's straight from Duskmourn. It is a creature spider avatar for 1 hybrid Gruul mana, so red or green. It has reach, which is interesting, and you can tap it for a red or a green, which is pretty good. And then the really cool line, and I'll get into it in a minute, is whenever you cast a spell with mana 4 or greater, untap this creature.
Yep. I think we missed a couple of prices along the way. Sandman is 64 cents.
Okay.
Supportive Parents is 22 cents.
Oh, nice.
And then Spider Manifestation is a quarter, so 25 cents.
But this is great for Beans decks.
This is a mana dork built for Beans decks. I also, one interesting thing to think about with this card is it goes along with supportive parents.
It does.
Like if you need a mana that is not red or green, like you're trying to combo and get blue or white mana, you can combine it with parents to do that. It's also it's just a mana dork. So this is a 2-mana 2/2 that taps for red or green. So it is on the same speed as like Paradise Druid, Sylvan Caryatid, for decks like that. Usually you want to avoid the 2-mana dorks unless they have other synergy in your deck,
Yeah.
which this probably does.
Paradox Engine combo, my beloved.
Yeah.
You can Paradox Engine,
Noted-
untap it, tap it, untap it. It's great.
This does work the way that Beans works. It is mana value, not how much mana you spent, like the Bloomborough stuff was.
Yeah. Next up, we have Rhino's Rampage. Also, fun fact, Spider Manifestation, like when it comes to Through the Omen Pass, which we're not covering because we play Value Vintage, which is in paper only, but it's worth mentioning. Through the Omen Paths, Spider Manifestation is called something else.
Yeah, because it has Spider-Man in its name.
But it just says Spider Manifestation. It does not say Spider-Man. Well, no, it literally says Spider-Man.
It says Spider-Man.
Thanks, smartass.
Infestation. Yeah. That's why. I'm pretty sure that's why, though. Like, that would be my guess as to why they did it.
That's the most bullshit Spider-Man thing. It says Spider Manifestation. Oh yeah, technically it says Spider-Man. Whatever. Yep. Anyway, it's called something else, but Rhino's Rampage is called Rhino's Rampage, and it just has artwork of a rhino.
Well, that's because rhinos are not copyrighted, and Spider-Man Infestation is.
Anyway, Rhino's Rampage is hybrid Gruul mana, so red or green for a sorcery. Target creature control gets +1/+0 until end of turn. It fights target creature and opponent controls. When excess damage is dealt to the creature and opponent controls this way, destroy up to one target non-creature artifact with mana value 3 or less.
Right, this card is about 30 cents, and I love this. Usually fight spells are not the removal you want, because if you're in red, you have access to Lightning Bolt and similar. This can just really mess up an opponent's plans. Like, you kill their creature and their Soul Ring or their engine artifact. Most of the artifacts in this format are mana value 3 or less, unless the opponent is playing something super, super rampy. Like, obviously you can't destroy Mirror Enforcer with this or whatever, but it's non-creature anyway, so you couldn't have done that regardless.
Blow up an artifact.
It's gonna blow up. It's gonna blow up artifact lands. It's gonna blow up Springleaf Drum. It's gonna blow up Shuko. It's gonna blow up Cranial Plating. It's gonna blow up Soul Guide Lantern if you care about that. And it's still a fight. So, like, you pump your creature. So, presumably, your creature is going to survive the fight and then attack. So, the pump is relevant. You are taking an opponent's creature off the board, and you are probably taking an opponent's artifact off the board. So, this is a really clean 2-for-1 if your deck has big creatures. So, like, we were talking about Arrogant Worm, Roar the Worm, Call of the Herd being maybe cheap engine pieces for the Shadow of the Goblin deck. This is in those colors. This also is a hybrid card. You can play this in mono green. So maybe you don't have access to really good removal. Maybe you're a mono green deck or even a blue green deck, and you just want to get something off the table. This can be a 2-for-1. Like, I think this is a sideboard card, not a main deck card.
It's neat,
in most metagames. You would have to have a really weird meta to want to main deck this, and even then I think it's only a 1 or 2 of.
Yeah.
But this is just a card that does a lot of work, and I want it to be on people's radar.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a niche but good sideboard card, and like I said, it really bullies artifact decks as creatures or creature decks as artifacts. It's a cool card. Next up we have colorless cards. Part 1. This is where we get into the card Toad mentioned earlier with Eerie Gravestone. This is a colorless artifact that costs 2 mana. It says when this artifact enters, draw a card. Already pretty good. 1 in a black, sacrifices artifact. Mill 4 cards. You may put a creature card from among them into your hand.
So this is a common, so it might see some popper play. I'm not sure if it will, because like Ichor Wellspring and Cryogen Relic are already kind of filling this niche. this is interesting because it draws you a card and it mills you 4 cards. So this is potentially a 2-for-1. It is potentially putting 5 cards in your graveyard if you miss and 4 cards if you hit a creature. So this is going to let you look at a lot of cards and put most of them into your graveyard and some of them into your hand. And it is 18 cents. So like we're not talking about a big investment here. If you are doing the Deadly Dispute, Reckoner's Bargain type stuff in Pauper, which doesn't have dispute, but this format does, you can get a lot of value out of this, and it might be worth considering if you want like a 5th or 6th copy of an Ichor Wellspring effect.
Yeah.
Especially if your deck is really creature heavy. Like if you can reliably mill 1 or 2 creatures in every 4-card stack, this has some real play to it.
Yeah.
I like this in decks with Emery, Lurker of the Lock, because this is going to make that kind of tricky to deal with. Because you're just going to get this back, and then if they kill your Emery, you can try to put it on top of your deck, or maybe you just have 4 Emerys in your deck, and you can try and mill another one and just keep going.
Interesting. That's neat. Next up, we have Peter Parker's Camera. This one's a little bit janky. It's a colorless artifact for 1. This artifact enters with 3 film counters on it. Pay 2, tap it, remove a film counter from this artifact. Copy target activated or triggered ability you control. You may choose new targets for the copy.
So you want this card to be copying big effects.
Yeah.
Like, the problem with that is it's hard to get a big effect and have 2 mana left.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this card is also $2.21.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's taking up a ton of your budget. It's not a payoff on its own. It's a lot of work to go through to get an effect. And it feels kind of win more. However, I do know that there are people who like building around this kind of effect where you get to double up on something strong that you're already doing.
Yeah.
And I think that this card is gonna get cheaper unless somebody finds some stupid way to break it in Modern or something.
Yeah, I'm like, I can kind of see it, but like also it's just kind of stupid.
I think at like 40 or 50 cents, this is pretty interesting to have in some decks.
Yeah. But anyway, so that's the Colorless Cards Part 1. Next up, we have Colorless Cards Part 2. Amazing. The first one we have is Urban Retreat. We're going to do a little bit of skipping around right now. Urban Retreat is a land that says this land enters tapped, and then you can tap it for a green, a white, or a blue, so Banton colors. And you can pay 2, return a tapped creature you control to its owner's hand, put this card from your hand onto the battlefield, activate only as a sorcery. That does not count for the 1 land per turn rule. It does cost mana.
This is doing its own thing.
Yeah. It's a web slinging effect, which is good at reusing and abusing ETBs, which is interesting.
So this is sitting at $2.20 right now. Little bit pricey for a land. However, this is a lot of value if you can pick up something relevant.
Yeah.
I don't know whether this one will go up or down in price. I could easily see it doing either. So we don't have a lot of playable tri-lands in this format besides the Modern Horizons 3 common fetches.
The landscapes. That's what they're
called.
Landscapes,
yeah. This is interesting. I like what this card is doing. I like the rate on it as far as mana. I'm not sold at $2.20.
Yeah. But, like, Spider-Man just came out by the time we're filming this, and MagicCon Atlanta, where a lot of cards are going to be opened up. Yes, it's mainly an Edge of Eternities event because Spider-Man kind of sucks, which we'll get into again later. But MagicCon Atlanta is going to have a lot of Spider-Man product, and that will just cause a surge in the market of cards just dropping in price.
Yeah, one thing that I think will keep the price on this down It is a 3-color card as far as color identity. It doesn't fit in a ton of commander decks. Bant, I believe, is not one of the most popular commander colors.
At least for Flicker.
For for just any commander decks in general. Because people might be tempted to put this in decks that aren't really doing the flicker stuff, just because it's a tri-land that has extra value. But I think being Bant is going to cut down a lot on who actually wants this and other formats, which means it might be just for us.
You might be getting the Bant commander players mad at us.
I'm a Bant commander player. I have a Mr. Foxglove deck.
Oh yeah, you do.
But I like, just in general, I don't see a lot of Bant decks compared to more of the other 3-color decks. I don't see a lot of Bant. I don't see a lot of Mardu.
Yeah.
So we could get access to this pretty cheaply if it is not popular in Standard.
And now finally for the card that Toad's the most interested in, and we have a lot to say about this card. Steel Wrecking Ball.
I think that this is the best card in the set. Not for the price, just in general. This is probably the best card in the set for almost any format. So this is a 5-mana artifact. When it enters, it deals 5 damage to target creature, and it has 1 in a red. Discard this card, destroy target artifact.
Yeah.
So the 5-mana version of this card is not what you're playing it for. You are playing it for the discard shatter thing. It's uncounterable shatter, pretty much. Like, they can Nimble Obstructionist or whatever. There is a split-second shatter now that they printed recently. However, what I like about the Wrecking Ball is it ignores silence effects. Generally, not Grand Abolisher, but nobody plays that in Value Vintage. It's just too much money. It ignores stuff like Calamity's Wake, where they're going to lock you out of playing cards for a turn. It ignores stuff like Cutsil, I believe, which has been seeing some play.
Is Cutsil an artifact?
No, but like, Cutsil has been seeing play in Bean Affinity decks.
Oh, yeah.
So if you need, like, if their plan is to stick a Cutsil and then drop a Cranial Plating and bash you, you can still blow up the Cranial Plating.
Yeah, I get it now.
It ignores, like, Deafening Silence and High Noon, so you can play a Swords to Plowshares and play your Shatter effect. There are a bunch of cards that have synergy with artifacts that don't have synergy with instants or sorceries. So if your deck is doing something with that, you might be able to take advantage of this in some way.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it in Tinker decks because it gives you creature removal as a Tinker target. Which, obviously, if you're tinkering, you would like to win the game and not just stop your opponent's creature. But sometimes things go poorly, and you just have to do what you have to do. This is a potentially playable Shatter in your sideboard that also gives you a 5 damage spell.
It also works with discard. The damage is colorless, and it's good for emergency removal.
Yeah, this is going to work with your Hollow Ones. It's going to work with your Asmos. It gets around protection. I like this in Pauper because it can take out a Guardian of the Guild Pact, which not a lot of cards do.
Holy cow, it does.
It does. It takes out pro red, pro black, whatever you've got. This is gonna just ignore it. I don't think people are playing Mother of Runes in Value Vintage, but if they are, this will get past Mother of Runes.
I think I've seen her once or twice.
I occasionally see her show up when she gets reprinted and then she just goes away. Yeah, she's back up to $6, so probably not, but they'll reprint her again eventually, and then she'll be $3 and somebody will try it. It gets past a lot of the tricks. Like, if they try to give your creature, like, Benevolent Bodyguard is something that does see play, even though that one is also a little bit pricey. but that is protection from a color, so it's going to get past that.
Yeah. Now
Oh,
5
actually,
mana.
Benevolent Bodyguard is 30 cents.
5 mana is a lot of mana, but like for an insta kill spell, it's not that bad.
That's what I'm saying. Is like this is a shatter that has a really weird form of kicker on it. It is a really, really, really good shatter with a really weird kicker 3 ability.
Kicker 3?
Yeah, so you pay 3 extra mana and you get a different effect.
I guess. I guess?
Yeah.
I want to call it kicker per se.
Nobody wants to pay 5 mana for a roast.
Yeah.
Nobody's putting that in their deck like, yeah, this is going to get them so good. If you are boarding in a shatter and your shatter also has the ability to destroy a 5/5,
Yeah.
like, that's not nothing.
Yeah, I just want to call it kicker. I call it more like a modal spell.
Whatever you want to call it. You pay extra for an extra effect.
But you don't pay extra for it. You just pay 5 for an effect, or you pitch and discard.
Drew, all mechanics are either kicker or horsemanship.
Ah, shit, you're right. Anyway.
That's just how it works.
So, conclusion. Spider-Man.
Yep. So we went over 18 cards for this. We were going to do a top 10, and then we actually did find a couple of more interesting ones than we expected.
There are some diamonds in the rough.
There are probably another 10 cards in this set that are just too expensive right now. And if they ever come down in price to like $3 or less, I'm interested in them. I think that Gwenum is one of the best cards in this set outside of dollar value. I would love to have that card for like $3 or $4. Right now, she's 20.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But still, the set is still pretty stinky.
This is not a good set. I think this set is a bomb. The pre-release
bombs are good things in Magic.
No, bombs are not good when they're sets. The pre-release numbers for this set were not great. I am a Spider-Man fan. I grew up with the 90s cartoon, reading the comics when I could get them from the library. I watched the Tobey Maguire movies. Like, that was part of me growing up, and like I was interested to see where they took this set, and I think they dropped the ball. I'm not happy with this set, not because it's Universes Beyond. That's a whole other issue. The way that they made this set, like, it was supposed to be an aftermath set, and then they had to fill it out with a bunch of cards, but not enough to be a real set. And a lot of these cards feel kind of like half-baked, like just throwing ideas at the wall.
Yeah.
There's some of these cards that seem like they're interesting cards almost accidentally.
I am also a big Spider-Man fan. I have a bunch of Spider-Man comics. But, like, I'm usually the more optimistic one between the two of us.
Yeah.
But what are some cards you think would be good for value vintage from the set? We would love to hear what you think. Just leave it in the comments, please. And, like, we could be wrong. Some of these cards will be great. Some of them will be terrible. We will try them out in the next few episodes, or at least the next episode. It'll be a little bit... It might be out a little bit late. We're going to try to get it out on time. Like I said, I'm going to Atlanta. I'll be there if you're watching this by that point and you want to find me. I'm doing a cool quiver case thing where if you ask me about it, it's cool. I'll be playing Value Vintage with my friend Foster, who was on the channel earlier. Let me write down the time signature. But anyway, yeah. And I will be hanging around at MagicCon Atlanta, so which will be pretty cool. I'm excited. Toad might come with me to future cons. We will see.
We're talking about it. It's going to depend a lot on how much travel is involved and how expensive stuff is.
Yeah. But we're talking about it, and we're going to try to make an effort, or at least I'll try to make an effort, and Toad will join me.
I'm open to the idea if I can play a bunch of Value Vintage and a little bit of Pauper.
Yeah.
without having to spend an arm and a leg on food and housing and travel and badges and all that. Like you can get up to $1,000 on a con pretty fast if you don't budget.
Yeah, and I'm in that same spot. So, but yeah, uh, that's our slide. That's our video for today. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We really appreciate it.
Make sure to comment and tell me why you think that Steel Wrecking Ball is totally unplayable.
But yeah, thank you very much, and we will talk to you all later.
Bye.
Bye!